Welcome to episode 12.1 of the On the Gas podcast. Back with myself and Lauren as we discuss David Alonso's 12th victory in Moto3 this year, the Martin versus Pecco battle that is ongoing, and how Martin can actually wrap up the championship in Sepang. And of course, stewarding as always, and the inconsistencies there. Marquez's suit open, and plenty more things that are ongoing within the paddock this week. And I hope you enjoy the podcast. And yeah, make sure to subscribe if you're on YouTube. Give the video a like. Rate us on Spotify, 5 out of 5, please. And all that jazz. Give us a follow on Spotify as well, and on Instagram at On The Gas Pod. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 plus 1 of the On The Gas podcast. Of course, giving a little nod to Angel Nieto there, which, ironically, before we go properly into it, can also be the number of wins that David Alonso, riding for the Angel Nieto squad this weekend, can amount to, because he can win his 13th race in Moto3 this season, this weekend. So, yeah, very impressive. But, yeah, I'm here with Lauren as well. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Cameron's not here due to personal reasons, so we hope to see him back next time. But, yeah.
Yeah, stuck with us.
Yeah, it's just us two this time. What a shame.
Sorry, guys.
I know. No more dulcet tones for Cameron this week, unfortunately.
Next week.
Yeah, but yeah, I think David Alonso is probably a good place to start with a 12th victory this year in Moto3, beating Valentino's record. Of course, percentage-wise, it means it's not the same, because also had a 73% win percentage that season, whereas David Alonso sat on 66.66 right now. But if he wins the last two, he'll be up to 70%, which is absolutely insane, to be honest. Even 13 wins in a year is crazy. He's the most successful Moto3 rider ever now, and I think he deserves all his success. He's been absolutely sensational this year.
Yeah, I do think, well, obviously he's already broken records. I do think that he has every possibility to win the last two races. And I do think that that's a sort of record that will stand for a very, very, very long time. You know, the records that he's breaking now have stood for a long time, beating Valentino Rossi, that's what, in the 90s. So you're talking like 25 years ago, at least, which is just, it's crazy to think. But yeah, percentage-wise, when you do look at it, obviously there was less races back then, so Valentino's percentages look a lot better, but Alonso has just been in a league of his own, to be honest. And yeah, I think in this case you can't sit and compare the percentages. Things are so different between now and then, and just everything that Alonso's been doing is such a nod to that time and that era, even in his celebrations, obviously, of nodding Valentino Rossi. And yeah, he's just, it's his world and we're just living in it, I think, is basically the point I'm getting to. He's just incredible, and he's exactly what MotoGP needs. And another race win, another great celebration. He's world class, quite literally.
He genuinely is, yeah. I'm not actually trying to be mean or rude, here, whilst looking at my other screen. I'm trying to find the percentage of victories stat, because I think I brought it out the other week.
I did see it on Twitter recently.
Let's have a look. Win records percentage, that's right. David Alonso has won 42% of every Moto3 races, all Moto3 races he's entered.
Oh,
which is nuts. Yeah, I think Pedro Acosta's at 33.33, which is the closest. So to have a full 10% on it is crazy.
Yeah, although I suppose two very different careers. Pedro's was rookie. Alonso's had a year, very, very different. Comparing apples and pears, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, 42% is just crazy.
Nice.
And yeah, it just shows the level, really, that he's had, because Yeah, it's absolutely obscene. I mean, the most podiums in the season actually goes to Sandro Cortese at the moment. David Alonso is on
Oh.
13 podiums this year, I believe. Let's have a look. Moto3 2024.
Surely it's up there with something like that.
I think the only time he's had a podium this year is a victory, and his similar as happened last year. No, he's had another one there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 13 podiums so far this year. So if he wins the last 2 races, he'll be up to 15 podiums, tying him to Cortese and Vinales. That's one record he cannot set, but
Oh,
he can be joint
wow.
first. But yeah,
Well, if you
15 in the
can't beat
season.
him, join him.
100%, 100%. And yeah, full credit to him. Very intrigued to see how he'll do in Moto 2. Obviously, we had that discussion the other week about kind of how he'll step up into Moto 2. My stat was actually wrong as well. There's actually 3 riders from the last 9 that have won a Moto 2 race, not 4, in terms of Moto 3 champions. So,
Oh, right, okay.
yeah, because there was somebody, I think I put Mir down as a race winner when he wasn't. So, yeah, crazy. But
There you go.
yeah, amazing weekend though. I think MotoGP race itself was good until it wasn't. I think it was quite interesting to see Mark and Pecco battling, and I think when Mark
Yeah.
crashed out, it was kind of like, well, Pecco's going to win this one now. It's kind of just waiting for it to finish. The fact that Martin nearly went down in the same corner after Mark is insane, because that really could have flipped the entire championship on its head. I think Pecco would have actually led the championship leaving Thailand if that was the case. Martin can now win the championship at Sepang, and additionally can finish second in the last 4 races and still be champion, which is crazy because even if Bagnaia wins the last 4, Martin will be champion by 1 point, meaning Bagnaia needs to rely on some outside assistance to pip Martin for second and demote him to third at least once, provided neither of them crash and provided they actually, Martin doesn't win a race or anything like that, because anything can happen in MotoGP, as we know. Like, for example, Sepang this weekend, and there Bastianini was asked, will you let Pecco kind of win or do what you can this weekend to enable him to win the championship? And Anair turned around and went, no, because I want to win at Sepang. So Anair's not going to be helping him this weekend. And I think it'll only be at Valencia we'll see something like that happen.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. I think Pecco has also said something along the lines of not wanting or needing help. Yeah, which pretty fair. Of course, people are going to be asking those questions. We always joke about Ducati orders and mapping it, and there has to be some sort of pecking order. But when you do look at it, obviously, with all the Ducati riders, Digi is not going to be there this weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously, getting a replacement rider, which we can talk about in a wee bit. So that's him out of the equation. Bezecchi is moving to Aprilia next year to be Jorge Martin's teammate. So it's probably within his best interest to actually help Martin out. Then you've got Frankie Morbidelli, who is Martin's current teammate.
But keep him
You've
away
got
from the front because he'll probably knock him off.
Yeah, well. Then you've got Nea Bastianini, who's also moving out of the factory Ducati squad next year to KTM. So he's going to go, which he's already said, I want to win. Nothing to do with Pecco. I'm out on my own accord. And then you've got Marc Marquez, who also probably has that I want to win attitude, but also is going to be Pecco Bagnaia's teammate next year. It's a bit, I think, honestly, the odds are stacked against Pecco of people helping him. Because, to be honest, more people, as much as they are, most of them VR46 riders or associated or Italian, I think most people's best interests will actually be with helping Jorge Martin.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
I think the only person really that's there is Mark.
And I don't think he'll get involved.
He'll just run his own race, because somebody asked him the other day about 2015, and he said, at the end of the day, I'm here to run my own race, and if I get involved with it because I'm fighting for a win, then I get involved with it. He's not trying to get involved with it and get involved with the title fight, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to win a race, you're going to try and race to win, and if you're battling against the championship contenders, then you're battling against the championship contenders. At the end of the day, I think it was crash.net that posted like a photo of it with the text. I think it commented on it and said, at the end of the day, the champion needs to earn that title by winning the races and beating the opponents to win those races. If they can't beat Mark in a race, that's not Mark's fault for docking them points.
Yeah.
That's the rider's fault for not beating Mark on the day. And you can't be handed these things.
Yeah. I also think that Mark said something along the lines of like Pecco needs to pull something out of the bag. And that's very loose. I've
Yeah.
just seen something over the weekend, but he's right in saying that of like if Pecco wants to win, he's going to have to make the hard passes. He's going to have to fight for the win. He can't settle anymore. Jorge
No.
Martin on Sunday did exactly what he needed to do. He said he was thankful that Mark went down in front of him because it stopped him from crashing, and he went, do you know what? I'm just going to stay where I am. I've seen Mark literally crash out in front of me. I've also nearly crashed in that exact same corner. I'm just going to play it safe. Pecco is not in a position to play it safe. He can't sit back. He has to literally throw everything he has at it. And in doing that, you're prone to make more mistakes. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. Although, in saying that, obviously, he handled Sunday so well after looking really disappointed with Saturday in the sprint race. And even his team looked deflated. And he came back in proper Pecco form. Like, I haven't seen him do that I say a long time, but from the first half of the season to the second half of the season, it's been a long year. And it's been a long time, I think, since we've seen that dominant side of Pecco Bagnaia. So it's interesting. It is.
Yeah, it is interesting indeed. And I think personally, I see it going Martin's way.
I think we've said that for so long
We
though now.
have,
Like
yeah.
MotoGP had a stat up on their Instagram today of the championship swings and who's been leading the championship when. And Martin has been leading the championship for majority of
Yeah.
the season. Like there was a bit around the summer break where Pecco managed to get in front, but never by a considerable amount. The odds have always been in Martin's favour. So now it
Yeah.
is his to lose, in my opinion. I am fully backing him now. It's not just, oh, my opinion. I think it is his championship to lose. If he crashes or makes a mistake or, I don't know, gets involved with Pecco, whatever, it's his problem and he'll have lost the championship on his own accord. So, yeah, there's every chance he could throw it away, but I don't know. I think he's grown a bit and I would be surprised if he managed to
Chuck it down the
mess
toilet
this one
kind of
up.
thing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, absolutely. I was just checking a stat that came up in my head and it's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Martin will not be the first ex-Rebel rookie to win the championship because that went to 2014 runner-up Johan Mir. Martin, if he wins the championship, will be the first ever ex-rookie champion to win the MotoGP title after beating Johan Mir in 2014.
Well, there you go.
Ironically. But yeah, so that's quite a crazy achievement in itself as well. The fact Rebel rookies to MotoGP champion. Same happened with Ayagura, first ever Asian Talent Cup rider to go and win the Moto2 title as well. But yeah, just an amazing weekend, I think, from Becco and Martin because they both showed maturity, I think. Becco kind of learned from his issues on Saturday and was, like, we really need to pull a result out here. He's made mistakes, especially in tricky conditions before, costly areas, and now he goes, right, head down, crack on with it, grind out a result, battle against Mark, so what? I think there's a photo posted by Gareth Harford of Golden Goose, and wow, it just showed the full commitment by Francesco Bagnaia where he's braking to overtake Mark. His bike is sideways in these tricky conditions. His boot is scraping on the floor. There's smoke going everywhere. And you're like, Pecco is on it. And he's pushing. And he was scrapping with Mark. And I do think, personally, if that battle had continued, I think Mark would have won it because Pecco would have gone, all right, I've got too much to lose here. You can have it. But Martin in itself as well didn't push too hard. Nearly made a mistake and crashed and went, nah, that's it. Stop. here's a line, going to chill on this line now, not push over that, sensible, take the points. And it's going to be quite difficult for Pecco to beat Martin in that. Like, Pecco now, like we said, he can win all 4 races, but that still won't win him the championship. He is now relying on Martin to make a mistake, but Pecco can force Martin into a mistake by pushing him during a race, sitting in second whilst Martin's in first, being right on him within a tenth every lap, because Pecco can do that. He's always got something left in the bag. Push Martin as hard as he can and force him into an error. That's not bad sportsmanship. That's not bad racecraft. That is just racing. You have to try and force your opponents into a mistake. You could even lead the race and try and pull away and then catch you, and then they crash out by catching.
We've seen
Pecco
it.
has to win like that.
We've seen it in the Women's World Championship, the last round with Maria Herrera and Ana Carrasco. I think that is the perfect example to use. That Maria was purposely backing up. Like, she would get to the lead and then slow down a considerable amount. She wanted as many people in that battle as she could get, because that meant the more people she could put between her and Anna, the more chances she had of winning the championship. Pecco could easily go out and do the same thing of let Martin lead, but sit right on his tail, force him into making a mistake, keep pushing, or do the thing that he's done so much this season of lead the race, let the gap come down, and then put it back up again. Pecco always seems to leave something in the tank, and he's done it so many times where we sort of go, oh, it's going to be a battle, and then there you go, he pulls out another half a second, and you're going, what? How does he have that left? So there's a couple ways I think that Pecco could, on track, play the sort of games that you're within your right to play. You've got to outsmart your rider. Sometimes being outright fastest isn't how you're going to win. Sometimes you need to play those mind games. And yeah, be interesting to now see Pecco fight back. We've seen him fight back points deficits of 91 points, but he's going to have to do a lot more than just winning the races. So yeah,
that's it. And for me, I want to see them actually battle on track.
Yeah.
We had it like a slight thing in Thailand, but we need an actual scrap, because it's all well, them trading points and stuff like that. Pecco led the championship, I think, for 3 races this year, and that was it. And then Martin's led the rest. But they're not really meeting on track or scrapping. And I think in Thailand they had a little bit of a ding dong, and that was it. Whereas, you had a Costa and Miller absolutely throwing the kitchen sink at it to try and retain that. And because they're fighting for it, they want it. And I'm not saying neither of them want it, but I don't think we've ever really seen Martin have a battle. And I don't, apart from maybe Marquez with Pecco a few years ago, we don't really see Martin or Pecco actually battle, especially not against each other.
No. We've been spoiled, though, with British Superbikes this year, where it literally was whoever crosses the line first wins the championship. Half a point last year to a point this year. We have been spoiled. And even in World Superbikes, there have been races between Toprak and, say, Bulega and Batista, and it's been so close. So I do think that as much as the championship is exciting because of what could happen and the mistakes that could be made, it's not going to be as exciting when there's not wheel-to-wheel action, which I don't think there will be. I think the mind games and waiting for someone to make a mistake sort of thing will be how it happens. But yeah, it's still interesting. I still find it fun to listen to the both of them and to hear the outside perspectives too, because obviously Anaya and Mark, etc., are going to play a part in it. But yeah, I think we can't expect too much of the on-track drama unless someone's crashing out and making a big mistake. But
yeah. And it's interesting, as you said, about listening to them speak, because Martin in the sprint race touched the green or the blue multiple times, evidenced by photos, and didn't get a penalty. And Pecco was like, why has he not got a penalty? Doesn't make sense. And the stewards were like, well, he touched the blue. And I saw some footage of him going with a green edge on the track, and he touched the green, and they're like, that's blue. And I'm like, what? I don't get it. Why is that blue? How is that blue? I don't understand. And I don't understand why he wasn't penalised when he clearly touched it that many times, but Martin said he didn't. And I'm like, consistency, where is it?
Yeah, I'm a bit unsure on this one. I haven't been on social media too much over the weekend, but I did hear obviously some comments and Pecco blatantly saying, like, I was behind him. I seen him touch the green 4 times. So,
Yeah.
that is something. Obviously, Jorge Martin's going to say, no, I didn't. There is pretty damning evidence with that photo where it looks like he's touching the green, but unfortunately, we've seen it in the past where there are sensors, and there's been photos where people don't look like they're touching the green, but the sensors have been triggered. So we're not there. We haven't seen what's going on in the stewarding room. So it's very easy for us to go, well, Pecco says he hit it 4 times. We watched the race, looked like he hit it 4 times. He should have got a penalty. It's easy for us to say that. They have the actual evidence. So unfortunately, for Pecco, I suppose, it went Martin's way, and I'm sure he'll feel very hard done by. But there's people in the past who look like they haven't touched the green but have got a penalty. It's just the way that it goes, and I think it's just one of those things. I don't think that was a deciding point of the championship, to be
No.
honest. I think it's just, yeah, angles, and we weren't there, so we can't actually properly comment on it.
No, and like it's all well and good having sensors and things like that, but the human eye is a lot better at it. I think, yeah, at the end of the day, you kind of put it correctly. Like, there's been so many times where people look like they've touched a sensor and they haven't, but vice versa, they look like they haven't and they have been. Martin himself has been penalised and lost a victory at Austria years ago because he touched the green when, you'd argue that no, actually he did not. And then, yeah, just weird things like that. We see it all the time. And so at the end of the day, it swings both ways. There will be times when people don't look like they have touched the green, get a penalty for touching the green. And there might be times when people look like they have touched the green and don't get penalties for it. And it's just one of those things. I do think that maybe they should be a bit more stricter with it and not just rely on sensors and maybe rely on the human eye a little bit more as well. And maybe that's something that Simon Crafar can help to implement next year. But all in all, you win some, you lose some at the end of the day. And I understand from Pecco's perspective why it'd be frustrating because you're chasing a championship. Martin's response was quite hilarious, actually, because he said that he was like, oh, in sprint race, you only get 3 touches of the green. In the main race, you get 5. And he's like, okay, I'll touch it 4 tomorrow then, hinting at a little advantage that you get by touching the green. So,
Yeah, yeah. Track limits is a weird one anyway, because not every time that you touch the green are you getting an advantage. It's a bit of a grey area of the whole leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So that in itself could probably do with being cleared up before we start deciding whether or
yes.
not he gained an advantage from it. Like, Pecco would have got a couple of points at most. He's still going to have to do more to win the championship. That wouldn't have decided it, I don't think.
Well, you say that, but a couple of points there
Yeah,
would
I
win the
know.
championship at Valencia.
I know, but then there's a couple of times, or maybe 5, 6, 7 times where he's crashed out of a race
Yeah,
and
it's
like
true.
could have been leading the championship. You know what I mean? Like, I know you
Yeah.
need to fight and bargain anytime that you can. Of course, he's going to say, I seen Martin touch the green 4 times, but in the grand scheme of things, you're going to look back on those mistakes that you made rather than trying to get Martin to lose a couple points by touching the green one too many times. Like, you got to look at yourself in these cases.
Yeah, absolutely. In other news, Fabio Digia's season has ended today or this weekend, as you alluded to earlier, with his
Yes.
shoulder. And it has been officially confirmed that Andrea Iannone will replace Fabio Digia at Sepang this weekend. So I'm very excited to see the Maniac back in the paddock. Interesting that they've only said Sepang and not said till the end of the season, which hints that maybe Pirro or Beluga could step in at Valencia, maybe. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Iannone obviously will go to Sepang with a bit of kind of Vietnam flashbacks to 2019 with that steak shop. Stay away from that place you ate that last time. Probably the best idea for him. But yeah, I'm excited to see him back in MotoGP.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am excited to see him back. I'm really intrigued to see what he can do on the machinery. I mean, Digia finished 4th at the weekend. even with that shoulder injury, that bike has something. So that is going to be interesting in itself. And if he can get himself involved in some battles near the front, like, it's going to be good racing. So that is the positive side of it, 100%. I just think that out of everybody that they could have picked, he's not my number one choice for obvious reasons, but it is what it is. I'm not the person making the decision. So whether or not they decide to go with him for Valencia too, not 100% sure on that one. I think I have heard rumours that it will be Peru because
Yeah,
he
I've
is
heard similar
Ducati's
ones.
test rider. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not the one behind VR46 decision. It's a bit strange to me, but it will be nice to see him back in the paddock.
Yeah, it's like a little reward, I guess, for his season in World Superbike this year, I think. At the end of the day, Italian rider, quite good friends with Rossi as well, so maybe Rossi's doing him a little favour there as well. I'm most interested to hear his thoughts on the new Ducati, because the last one he rode was the GP 2016, which was obviously
2016.
GP16, sorry, which was one of Gigi's first ever kind of marvels of the bike. He did the 14.2, then the 15, then the 16 that Iannone all rode, and they were the ones that really kind of pushed Ducati back to the front. Now Ducati are the front running bikes, as we saw in the sprint with the top 8 locked out by Ducatis, which is just insane, mad, absolutely unbelievable achievement. I think that's their best achievement, genuinely. Like, yeah, they won the championship and stuff like that, but to be that good and lock out the top 8 with 8 bikes, not 4, not 6 like some of the other manufacturers, 8 bikes is mental.
Do you know what made me laugh though? There was a few people who commented on the fact that how did it take them so long for them to do that? It was quite funny.
I think the odds of it happening must be so slim, because you got to remember it only takes one crash. Or Pedro Costa was there at the end of the day. If Pedro Costa had stayed on, bam, it's top 9. You know, it's such a slim chance of it happening. It just takes one rider to, like you say, make a mistake, or somebody else to get a better start than, say, Franco Morbidelli and be sat one place ahead. And it's tiny. The odds of it happen, genuinely, considering there's 8 bikes. Well, actually, no. The odds are even harder because there's 8 bikes, because there's even more kind of things to go wrong. And so, yeah, that was impressive. But I'm intrigued on the original point to hear how Iannone compares the GP23 to the GP16, because they are massively different ride height devices and all that. And there, the aero's different. Even the way the engine kind of fires is different. I'm quite intrigued to kind of hear his opinion on it after being out for so long and riding the struggling RSGP in between that as well.
Yeah. Not much else to say about it. I think my choice would have been Bulega, but like I said,
Bulega said he didn't want it. Well, no, he wanted a test first.
which is fair, because I suppose if you want to go in, you want to be competitive. He's a racer at the end of the day. You don't want to go in and circulate at the back just for a bit of fun. Like, he wants to race. So that does make sense. But why you would turn down the opportunity is a bit beyond me, unless there's something else in the mix.
Well, there's a few things I think with Bulega, because you got to remember last time he was in the GP paddock is a back marker in Moto 2. So that in itself is like not great. And then he was on Supersport for 2 years. This was only his first year on the Superbike, a 1000. So then jump on the MotoGP after spending a year learning a 1000 in itself is a big thing. 2, he left the VR46 Academy on not the best terms.
Did he leave, or was he asked to leave?
I don't know. There's a few weird nuances with that, because I do remember back in the day, Bulega was crowned, I think it was 2015, Junior Moto3 World Champion, riding for Rossi's team, VR46 logos all over the bike, running the number 46 as well, in honour of Rossi.
I remember when he joined Moto3 and he was the next big thing.
Well, the whole thing is that he was running the 46 in Rossi's team and stuff like that, and then joined the Sky VR46 team in Moto3.
Yeah.
Asked Rossi to use 46, and he said no. Rossi said,
yikes.
No, you can't use my number, which is a bit mad, because it's just a number at the end of the day. I respect Bulega for asking, but he was told no. fair enough. Bullock got the chance to be in the team for a few years, moved to Moto2 with them, fair enough. Then they had their fallout. No idea why, but he had the fallout. Bullock left and then went and changed all his sponsors as well. Changed his boot deal, his helmet deal, all that malarkey. Didn't wear the Monster Energy anymore. All of that he lost. You got to remember, Rossi's quite kind of influential within the Dainese AGV Monster Energy kind of circles. Obviously, he's back in his Dainese levers now. But that in itself, again, strange. So maybe there's a little bit of kind of niggle between the two of them.
Yeah, I do wonder if the offer was ever put on the table. I know Bulega said that he doesn't want it, but what was there an actual offer to
Well, it was
ride there?
Ducati's decision, not Rossi's team's decision.
Oh,
So then it's a
okay.
case of like, oh, me and Rossi don't really get on that well on Uccio, and now Ducati are putting me in his team, meaning Rossi's not chosen me to ride here. Ducati have told me I
Yeah.
have to ride here, and then you're feeling like you're like, I don't know, you're in where somewhere you shouldn't be, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Even then, that's still confusing if it was Ducati's decision why they went with Ian now. Like, that
Yeah,
still makes me wonder. Like, I think obviously Bulego would be number one choice considering he finished second in the championship. Then possibly you look at Batista, who was third in the championship. Then you look Danilo
Petrucci.
Petrucci,
Yeah,
who was your best independent rider, funnily enough, on a Ducati. And then you go, okay, right, well, everyone else has said no. Okay, Andrea, do you want to go and race in MotoGP for the
yeah.
weekend? Like, I still don't understand how they managed to come up
It's
with Ian Une.
it's an
So,
odd one. It is an odd one. I'll agree with that. But yeah, and then the other thing we mentioned stuff about social media and lots of chatter at the moment. Franco Morbidelli's name is everywhere. I've seen this weekend. I saw someone made a compilation video on the r/motodank Reddit page
I'll have to
earlier.
have a look.
Yeah, of every time Frankie's taken somebody out recently, and it was like Vinales, Aleix. There was like Bezzecchi at Silverstone, and then Bezzecchi at another track, along with somebody else earlier this year, and then Fabio Quartararo. And you're like, I never realized how often it was. I was like, oh, Frankie, it's just every so often. No, it's quite a lot, it seems. And for a rider on GP24, riding one of the best bikes on the grid, ex Moto2 World Champion, 3-time race winner in MotoGP, you're better than that, is my opinion.
You would like to think every time I'm sort of reminded of this, I do think back to the time where Alicia Spargaro and Morbidelli had that sort of incident, and Alicia obviously literally lashed out at him.
Yeah.
And at the time, I remember it being like, yes, we understand that Frankie is doing this constantly, but Elise was in the wrong to go ahead
Yeah,
and give
yeah.
him that wee tap on the head. But yeah, it just reminded me of that, to be honest. I think it goes under the radar for so long. And then an incident like what happened at the weekend when you've got Fabio Quartararo, who somehow managed to qualify sixth and then got the start of his life. Like, we haven't seen him look that competitive in literal years.
Yeah.
For Frankie to then come and literally rip that,
Bulldoze it.
yeah, it was ridiculous. And it just reminds you, and you go, oh, yeah, like, I'd forgotten that he does this a lot. And
Mm,
I think it reminded a lot of people the same thing. And yeah, Fabio could have had a fantastic result at the weekend, but instead
I
finished
was
16th.
I was putting Fabio on the podium.
I
Genuinely
think he,
thought he could
yeah,
finish on the
no,
podium.
I think he could have. I genuinely think, especially with if everything else played out the way that it had, Mark crashed,
Mm,
Miller and Pedro were battling with each other. I genuinely do think he could have been on the podium, fourth, fifth. Like, he definitely had the pace,
a
or was
result
showing the
then.
pace to be top five at least. And
Yeah.
like you said, Frankie's on a GP24. He should be better than this. He's finished runner up in the MotoGP Championship in 2020. Like, he's a fantastic rider. But yeah, continues to do things like this. And somehow it was still civil between Fabio
Yeah.
and Morbidelli. I seen pictures of them in the debrief rooms afterwards. I think Simon Patterson and a few other people posted photos.
Yeah.
If I was
Windmill
Fabio, I
Morrison.
literally would have been like, someone would have had to hold me back. If that was me, I'd be furious.
Yeah, I
Well,
would be
what can you
too.
do? What can you do? Because a lot of people were calling for the fact that a long lap penalty was not enough.
Yeah, that even the commentators on TNT said the same. I think it was Gavin Emmett and Hodgie said that's lenient. And even I said it at the time. I was like, that is lenient for a very clear, aggressive move that caused a rider to crash. At least a minimum double on that penalty or a ride through or something, because that, if it was his first time he'd ever done it, fair enough, but it's not his first rodeo even this season. So I'm like, at this point, you need to really kind of dish something out. I did like the years ago when they had the little penalty point system in there. That obviously got
Yeah.
scrapped when Rossi had to start from last at Valencia. I liked that idea, and I think something like that would have been good for Morbidelli. But
Well, a lot
yeah,
of other championships still run penalty points.
PSB
Formula
do.
One does, BSB does. I don't see an issue with doing something like that again. We've seen incidents in the past, say like Dennis Onshu in Moto3 a couple of years ago. He'd been a bit of a repeat offender, and it got to the stage where they handed him a race ban. You know, I don't understand why in this situation the stewards haven't been taking note, even if it's like a yearly thing of like, okay,
Mm,
your points get scrapped at the end of the year, you know, because you move up and down championships, that's cool. But like a point system or a penalty point system, even for the year itself, Frankie would have warranted more than a long lap penalty if they'd been keeping track of all of the incidents he's been involved in this year. And that
yeah,
says something that, yeah, why are they turning a blind eye now when other riders have been penalised on their repeat bad behaviour?
yeah, it is strange. Hopefully something else maybe come to fruition next year with Simon Crafar stepping in there.
Well, that's
I
twice now.
hope.
We're like, hopefully.
Hurry up. Yeah. And then obviously in the main race as well, Marc Marquez crashed, remounted and finished 11th, was docked a position because of the way he overtook Jan Mir quite aggressively. Did you see his comments on DAZN afterwards?
No.
So again, a bit of controversy on social media, and I'm of the agreement of these comments on social media. Basically, Mark said that Mir's on a slower bike than me, and I'm clearly the faster rider, alluding to the fact that Mir should have maybe just let Mark through or let him pass because he's a faster rider on a faster bike. Therefore, let me pass because, and on a track day, someone said on Reddit, it was on the r/MotoGP page, I think, someone said, oh, well, it's a track day. Yeah, sure. They're a faster
Mm.
rider, let them through. This is a MotoGP race. Even if they are slower, you have to earn that position off them. And it is a consistent thing with Mark whenever he crashes and he's gone down the order, then it just chaos ensues and he takes people out, like Rossi at Argentina when he was barging past Aleix at Argentina as well. Another races as well where he's crashed and then just absolutely barged his way through the field and caused chaos and crashes. And, it's happened again. And someone basically said that it's quite arrogant of Mark to have experience of being a fast rider on a slow bike the last few years at Honda and kind of understanding that side of it, and then hopping on a fast bike and being a fast rider on a fast bike and suddenly forgetting all of that stuff and being like, yeah, you should move out of the way for me. You're on a slow bike. Instead of being like, well, I was on a slow bike and I remember having to fight for these positions. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to fight for this position. I'm a faster rider than you. Get out my way. And I didn't like that, to be honest.
No, not. I don't
Not
agree
good
with
look.
him whatsoever. I do think that the track day thing is fully right. You know, if there's not points up for grabs, it's not a race, it's not serious, then 100% someone's faster than you, you let them pass. You know, it's the same on like a bloody motorway. You know, someone's faster
Yeah.
than you don't drive in the outside lane. You know what I mean? Like it's just common courtesy. But yeah, when you're in a race, the only time that you should be letting someone pass is if you're a back marker and you're being
Yeah.
waved the blue flags and you don't get involved in something that's not your race to get involved with. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, bit ignorant is
Yeah.
maybe a bit of a stretch, but again, could have just been taken out of context, could
Yeah, genuinely,
be
yeah.
translation issues as well. Like, yeah, if he continues to say that, then there's going to be an issue there. But yeah, not
Yeah.
particularly pleased with that comment. And like you said, it is something that Mark, it's we've seen him do it before. Like his injury in 2020 was
The
based
same
on
thing.
that. Like it
Yeah.
crashes, panics, and then just completely goes crazy.
Yeah.
He's like a different person. I don't understand it. So concerning that that's how he's getting on now, especially when you're right, he was literally on that Honda last year. So
Yeah. It's like the whole, if he crash, it's like, seems like when he crashes, he leaves his brains in the actual gravel trap and just gets back on his bike without him, and then just goes and causes absolute chaos.
but then this was another point that I seen on social media of maybe riders shouldn't be allowed to rejoin a
I was gonna
race.
say this because
Yeah.
BSB don't allow you to do it. If you crash out of a BSB race and session, I believe, done. Yeah, that's it. You get on your scooter and you go back to the pits. You know, Tony Arbolino suffered a pretty darn bad injury, or
Darn
nearly.
bad.
I mean, I don't
Oh,
know. Yeah, darn bad. That was terrible. I watched it frame by frame, and his whole ankle and leg just popped out.
stop. Every time I
Awful.
watch it, it makes me want to throw up. And for some
Yeah,
reason, probably for the fact that he wasn't badly injured, that MotoGP were posting it absolutely everywhere. And then it was
yeah.
all over Twitter because everyone was posting the video too. And I couldn't get
Mm,
away from it. And I was like, I'm not a squeamish person, but it made me want to curl up
yeah,
inside. Like it was horrific. But then that's the thing. Tony Arbolino literally was hobbling around on crutches after being declared fit and
yeah.
somehow still finished that session. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable, yeah. Well, yeah, because he's second the next session out. Yeah, have to go to
Yeah.
hospital. But Arbolino crashed and then was back on the track trying to get down pit lane.
Yeah.
He crashed. Just walk him off the track and put the bike back in pit lane. Might take a bit longer, sure. But, you know, if you crash, go and get your second bike. Do whatever it is you need to do if you're in a session. But I think the only exception is free practice and qualifying, and maybe you can ride it back to the pits. You know, so then have it checked over, then go back out. But in a race
Yeah.
and all that, once you've crashed, you're done. That's it. Stop.
Yeah. I mean, in BSB, I'm not 100% sure. I think in the race, that's you
In the
done.
race, it's yeah,
But I think in sessions and stuff like that, I think you go back to the pits
and
and
get
get the
checked
bike
out.
checked over, and then you're allowed to go back out again.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure. I'd actually need to focus on
yeah,
that exact thing in a race weekend to know the rules on that, or go and check up the rule book for BSB. But it makes so much sense, and maybe it is something that needs to be brought in because the rider's safety is paramount. And I think in that case, like we've seen so many ones recently. I mean, who was it? Was it Baqueras crashed a couple of weeks ago? Got up, was
oh
on like
yeah, and
wet
then
grass,
slid
and
on
then
onto the
literally crashed 2 seconds later. And it was funny, but like could have
yeah.
actually caused serious injury and
He
damage.
landed on
And
his head.
yeah, it looked pretty. Like it was. I say it was funny. Like it was
It
funny
was
when you
funny.
knew it
You
was
can,
okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I know. You don't want to say it was funny watching someone crash, but
no,
watch it back, you'll know what I mean. Um, but yeah, they're just a danger to themselves because you could see how keen and eager he was to get back out on the track to see if he could get points, and then did something as stupid as that. They're just, yeah, they're not themselves. And yeah, Mark did manage to score points, but at what
nearly cost other
risk?
people their own races out of it.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. So, and apparently his suit was undone.
Yeah, I was gonna check this on MotoGP because they actually put a statement out about it earlier, and I didn't check
Oh,
because
did
he
they?
wasn't penalised for it.
Yeah, but apparently there was a photo. But again, I've been
Yeah,
in
there
work all
was.
day. I haven't been able to keep up with much. But yeah, I've seen a few
Yeah,
things on Twitter pop up in my notifications about it.
I have seen the photo. Let's have a look. Let's open Marquez
I think Crash
suit.
posted something about it too.
Yeah, probably he's absolutely spot on it all the time as Crash and Jordan. Yeah, so Lewis Duncan wrote the article for Crash. Says suit was opened partially following his crash, which is important. Speaking to the media, including Crash.net, Mark has acknowledged the suit had come undone as a result of the airbag system deploying. The suit opened, I think, in the crash where the airbag deployed, he said. There's a lot of pressure on the shoulders. We have a security system, but it came off just a little bit. And when we finished the race on that lap, it felt like it opened more. What do the rules say? So Lewis Duncan, by the way, sensational at his job. I've said it on the pod before. Very good. So it says, what do the rules say? Article, see, this guy's come with a receipt. Article 2.4.5.2 of the FIM MotoGP rulebook says, under the rider safety equipment subheading, it is compulsory that each contracted rider must begin each race event with at least 2 complete sets of undamaged safety equipment, including a helmet, one-piece leather suit, gloves, boots, back protector, chest protector. Equipment must be worn, correctly fastened at all times on track activity. So that's important, but correctly fastened. In certain cases, for example, the airbag, the equipment must be present and functional, at least at the start of each track session. And the FIM's panel's roundup document for Sunday made no mention of any investigation into Marquez's suit coming undone. Obviously, Fabio, he unzipped his levers and chucked his chest protector out a few years ago and got a penalty for it. And Martin again issued his levers because they were unzipped in the Indian GP last year, and again rectified it and no penalty given. But Marquez, his suit didn't unzip as much as Fabio's did, but under the wording of the regulations, as Lewis is saying, was not correctly fastened and remained so until the checkered flag. So he didn't finish a race pulling it up. Martin did actually finish the race and then pull it up.
And then pulled it up. Yeah, I think as well with the Fabio one, I think
Fabio did it
the
on
way
purpose.
it's worded, yeah, there was something about that it was possibly not fully fastened properly at the start of the race, and then he purposely undid it.
Because Alpinestars have a new kind of zipper. I think his zip came down because they had this little small one, and now they've got a big leather piece there,
Yeah,
which covers the zip and means it can't come down. But yeah, Martin as well, like you said, his suit was open in India last year and no penalty. Mark's suit, very interesting. Weird, again, lack of
I think
consistency.
Fabio's one was the chest protector though.
Yeah, that was the main kind of one. Like him riding around the track with his just full chest exposed was scary.
Yeah, because he doesn't wear one like an undershirt at all.
No,
So
and I was like, if he crashes, this is gonna hurt, man.
Yeah,
And then
my
he
dad.
found out about it Aragon a year later.
Yeah, my dad got up and left the room. I remember that year that race happened. He was like, "No, I'm not watching this because if he crashes, I don't want to see that." Oh yeah, and then when he
his suit opened
crashed,
at Aragon.
yeah, because he'd crashed, unzipped his suit, was on the back of the moped, and then got in another crash on the moped.
Yeah, and then was scraped up. Yeah. No, he crashed. That was in the crash.
Was it?
Aragon, yeah,
Or was it from the crash on the moped?
I'm certain that it opened during the crash. I'm certain of it.
God, I couldn't tell you.
But I know he had a crash back to the pits. 100% he did.
I thought that was the same incident.
Yeah, no, I've got a photo of him now. Yeah, and he's lay on his back. I remember the photo. He's lay on his back and his chest is just open. At Aragon, yeah.
And that was in the crash?
That was in the
first crash?
Yeah, it popped open, yeah. Just sent you a photo.
You sent me. Sorry for the
the
video viewers here.
So yeah, it did happen during the crash, but scary stuff anyway. I think Marquez should have been penalised for that, given the rules say that has to be correctly fastened. Wasn't his fault specifically. Maybe a fault of his suit again, but
you wonder. It's strange that it's happened now 3 times in the last couple of years. So it's interesting.
It's all with Alpinestars suits as well, which is a common denominator there. Yikes. No offense to Alpinestars. Love your gear. Send me some stuff, please, for free. Thanks.
Sponsor the podcast, please.
Yeah. Moving to Moto2, of course, Guru was crowned the Moto2 World Champion. Not anything that was unexpected, really, given the lead he held. It was crazy, actually. It went from Guru kind of being on par with everyone to suddenly having this massive lead, seemingly overnight, and now he's champion. He's the first Japanese champion since Ayama. And he's the first non-Calix champion since Marc Marquez on a Suter in 2012.
Yeah, a pretty mad stat, to be honest. But Not surprised whatsoever. Ayagura showed us how good he is a couple of years ago when he and Augusto Fernandez were battling for the championship, and an easy mistake to make. He dumped it down the road,
Mm.
and Augusto was handed the championship. Well, not handed the championship, but it is what it is. He clearly struggled the next season after that and took a while to get back into that headspace. But with the confirmation that he's going up to MotoGP, he said it in so many interviews that before he goes to MotoGP, his goal is to win the Moto2 World Championship, and he doesn't want to go to Moto2 or MotoGP until he wins that championship. And he went ahead and did it. And I'm surprised in the sense of like seeing where he was a couple of years ago when he was battling for the championship. We knew he was prone to a mistake, but he's just made this championship his own. And as much as there hasn't been much strong competition this year, you still need to be consistent and you still need to be finishing those races and you need to be scoring those points. And it's clear to say that he fully deserved it. I mean, Sergio Garcia led that championship for so long this season and then went through a really bad run of results. And no one's really put a string of good results together other than Ayagura. And
Yeah. Well, I went because I remember a few races ago, I was like, wow, there's still 17 Moto2 riders come in the championship.
yeah.
Then, like, already we've got a champion 3 races early, and I'm like, where's that come from? Like, how's
Yeah,
that happened?
it's a bit weird, but when you look at his competition, it's so easy to see how it's happened.
Yeah.
Like Aaron Canet was nowhere at the start of the season, then has put good form in. If he had ridden like that all season, maybe there would have been a bit of a title fight. Sergio Garcia
Yeah.
had a great start to the season, but had the disappointment of not getting a MotoGP seat and a few bad races. The mental side of things really took a toll on him, and he's been open and honest about that. Alonso Lopez, Firmino Aldeguer both really haven't done much this year at all. Jake Dixon had a terrible start to the season. Tony Arbolino has showed flourishes of greatness and then
Yeah.
has gone away again. Joe Roberts is now injured and out. There's like that's 5, 6, 7 riders just off the top of my head that I can go, you all had the potential and you didn't do anything about it. And then Ayagura can just slowly chip away and do exactly what he needs to do. Fully deserved. I don't want anyone to think that I'm just saying because other riders didn't pull together a title fight is the reason that he's won it. That's not the case. But yeah, don't know where
Yeah.
I'm going with that point, but
No, I get it. I
he
get it.
deserves it. He fully deserves it. And I'm glad he got it. And I'm glad he's moving up to MotoGP. And yeah, he was the consistent one this year, so it's fully deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that one. And yeah, I think Aaron Canet, putting my hat in now, I think is a favourite for the championship next year. He's
How
won
many
3
times has
races
that been
now.
said?
I know. He's won 3 races now, and he looks really good. I mean, second in the championship. The battle for third's still pretty hot, with Agura Garcia in third with 179. So he's back up to third now. And then Alonso Lopez with 168, so only 11 points back in 6th place, sandwiched between Aldeguer, Gonzalez as well. So it's kind of a 4, maybe 5-way with no Joe Roberts. No, he's not.
No,
So maybe a
he'll not
4-way
be back.
shootout for that third place in the championship. Aldeguer was third last weekend, but now is injured. Will miss Sepang. Wait, is Cameron has put Aldeguer
Has
to
he
win in
put him
Moto
down?
2.
Oh, yikes.
I'll get him to change it. Don't worry. Yeah, I mean he's replaced by Alberto Sura this weekend,
Hmm.
so that'd be an interesting one. Sura is linked to Forward Racing for Moto 2 next year as well, which I think is an absolutely horrific move for his career. But
Oh, well,
yeah, it's a terrible team, isn't it? At
you
the end of
tell
the day.
him.
Well, they're not really performing, are they? So,
Oh, gosh.
but yeah, and
Well,
then Jorge Navarro was back after racing the Forward this year in the American racing team. Fun story, his suit was delayed in luggage and he's wearing teammate what's his name, Marcos Ramirez's suits this weekend instead, which is quite funny because it was also the brand Macna that Navarro used to wear. So Navarro is back in the old suit brand he used to wear, but having to cover the logos because he's now back in Alpine Stars. So he should have the suit this weekend, but yeah, so he's wearing his teammates' suits all weekend long.
Bit wild. I mean, shout out to Marcos Ramirez,
Yeah,
in fairness to him,
podium.
finishing third. Pretty good.
Yeah,
But disappointed that they chose Jorge Navarro because
yeah,
Spanish, and that's all it is. Nothing against Jorge Navarro. It's really nice to see him
yeah,
racing. Nothing against him, but you are American racing team, and you already have one Spanish rider, and you know all the other championships are all wrapped up.
yeah.
I'm sure there was someone else that could have
Well,
stepped in.
there. I mean, because I made a story post about it on the page.
That's what made me think about it. I honestly
Yeah,
hadn't batted an eyelid until I seen that, and then was like, "You're so right."
yeah. Thank you, thank you.
That's the
Like bad.
first and last time I'm ever going to say that, by the way.
Well, I mean, Bad MotoGP memes made a comment on their thing that was like Spanish racing team or whatever, but I would never have made the post ever if it wasn't for the fact that they made a snide little dig at Trackhouse earlier this year because they signed Ayagura when Joe Roberts was kind of linked and said. So then they made a post with the American livery on Joe Roberts
Proud to
and was
support
like,
American riders. Yeah.
yeah, proud to support American riders since 2019. It's like, well, you've sacked SDK. You've screwed around a few other riders that aren't American, so fair enough. But then you've then hired a Spanish rider in Marcos Ramirez, and now you've got a chance to sign an American to replace an American, and you go for a Spanish rider. So now there's two Spanish riders in the squad. So you're not supporting American racing or American racers, even though the Moto Americas Championship is kind of finished now. James Rispoli was at the track and he has raced Moto 2 a few years ago. Maybe, might be off the pace this weekend because he's not ridden it in 10 years. Fair enough. But he was still there. Moto America is finished. Josh Herrin won the championship. Surely, as an American team, giving the Superbike champion a ride on your bike in Moto 2 is the greatest reward for winning the Superbike championship. Cameron Bobier has ridden the bike 2 years ago. He's
This
free. He's sat at
Sean
home.
Dillon Kelly, but
Oh,
guess
yeah,
what?
that's
You've
not
ruined
happening.
your no, but you've ruined your relationships.
Yeah,
And
and then,
the fact that there probably wasn't even a thought, like who decided that was
yeah,
beyond me. They clearly haven't thought about it whatsoever, and it just makes them look silly.
yeah. Additionally, there are two riders riding Moto 2 bikes at the moment in the European Championship that are American. Max Toth,
Hmm?
who again can't ride for the team because he rode for them last year and they absolutely screwed him over. Can't go into details on that one, but they absolutely just screwed him. And again, you're like, well, that's another American you screwed over. And then Rossi Moore, who I don't know if he has a relationship with them or not, but Rossi Moore made his debut in the Moto2 Junior World Championship at Aragon and was amazing. Like, he is so good. He was the what was it, the NTC champion a few years ago. And yeah, superb rider, also holds American citizenship, could have ridden. But no, put a Spanish rider on it instead. So you can't go and say, "Oh, support American riders since 2019," but here's some American riders, and we're going to put a Spanish rider on it. That doesn't make sense. Don't fire shots at Trackhouse and then do that. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, just don't go on about the whole American thing
Yeah,
and the fact that you support American riders and then don't support American riders when you're given a chance. Is it just because Joe Roberts is doing well or had been doing well and had the opportunity to go to MotoGP and they want to support that, and then all of a sudden Joe Roberts is injured and they've no interest in American riders? Like, it sounds harsh, but
mm,
we have to remember all the things that they've done in the past, and we're talking about all the people that they could have had, but those bridges are burnt with a lot of those riders, and it's
yeah,
horrible to see because it could have been a great opportunity, and it was a great opportunity for Navarro,
yeah.
but his name never, like, it never should have been in the mix,
No, and like we don't know.
realistically.
Yeah, and like we don't know the conversations behind the scenes. They may have asked American riders like Cam and Josh and things like that. But then commercially, having a rider like Navarro on the bike makes a lot of sense because, he'll fight at the front or mid-pack at least, and, the sponsors will be happy because of that. And Navarro got straight to Q2. That's great. But again, it goes back to that post of supporting American riders since 2019. It's like, but you're not. So don't say that you are, because you're not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a bit similar to Ducati deciding to put Iannone on the VR46 bike. I think that there was possible other people that should have gone before him. What
Yeah.
actually transpired in those conversations,
Yeah, we
we
don't
don't
know.
actually know. So the decision-making process, although it doesn't make any sense to us, could actually, like, in their defense, could actually have been a very logical thing of XYZ isn't going to work. Okay, well, here's this rider and he can come and we know that he's going to be good, sort of thing. So in their defense, we don't actually know what went on behind the scenes, but
Yeah, we don't.
the public viewing, it doesn't make them look very good.
No, it doesn't at all. Yeah, not in the slightest. But yeah, moving to Moto3 before we do these predictions. Obviously, David Alonso, 12 wins now. We've kind of discussed that one. Sensational by him. And then very strange incident at the end where Via kind of took Furusato out. Strange how Via didn't get a penalty for that, because he weaved across the line and absolutely murked Furusato. But I'm glad Furusato was given fifth, because the rule was changed a few years ago. Because originally he wasn't touching the bike, so would have not been classified, like Ben Schneider a few years ago at Assen. Danny Kent, I remember in Argentina, crashed across the line, but was still touching the bike and therefore was classified. Obviously, Bo lost the result. Now it's whatever crosses the line last will class you. So Furusato kept fifth, but again, didn't like that there was nothing for Vire at all.
Annoyed actually that he got fifth, because technically the first bit of bike that crossed the track actually would have gotten fourth, I'm nearly sure. So a little bit annoying, but the fact that he was able to still be classified is good. And I agree with that rule. And I'm glad that that's actually in place, because for incidents like that happen once in a blue moon, there needs to be something in place. So annoying for
Yeah.
Furusato, but glad he still got points.
Yeah.
Possibly that's why Vire didn't get a penalty, because he still was classified as finishing the race. He didn't completely ruin another rider's race because of those rules. It's a bit, that's another grey area in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm quite surprised that Vire didn't get a penalty, but I think we can just see the sort of mood that the stewards were in that day, considering we just spoke about the fact that Frankie Morbidelli only got a long lap penalty for his incident with Fabio Quartararo. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm always glad to see Vire on the podium. It was a bit of a dirty move, unintentional.
Yeah.
But it still happened. He was fully aware of the situation. He fully turned back and had looked and seen what had gone on. So yeah, I think there's a lot of factors in that one.
Yeah.
And if that
100%.
new rule hadn't have been in place, or Furusato would have been deemed as scoring no points, then I think they would have had to have given Vire a penalty for completely ruining his race.
Yeah. And to add to Furusato quickly, the Honda Team Asia have actually confirmed their lineup for next year as well, with Brasri staying in Moto3 alongside Furusato. Furusato was rumoured to go to a few different places. I think I said earlier in the year about Intact. He was actually meant to go to Intact last year, incredibly. There's a few other bits in there that I can't really discuss, but yeah, very heavily tied to Honda is all I can say. So we can expect to see him probably step up to the Honda Team Asia Moto2 squad in a few years. With Chantra obviously exiting the team, they've kept Aji in the squad, and they've actually brought in Yuki Kuni, who is the, I believe, Stock 1000 champion over in the Asia Road Racing Championship, and won the Superbike race at the weekend. Not sure if he's a champion. We'll have to triple check that. But again, he was in the Moto3 Junior Championship a few years ago and in the World Championship in the Honda Team Asia squad. myself and many other people highly rated him because he had an exceptional junior career. I was very sad when he exited the paddock. Very excited to see him back in Moto 2. I think he's absolutely brilliant. So I think give him a few years and he should be right at the front, I think. And obviously, Chantra's going to MotoGP. There's brand new Red Bull deal as well that was confirmed last weekend. Doesn't surprise me given that Thailand is heavily. Well, Thailand was where Red Bull was originated from in the first place.
Oh
Called.
yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it begins with a K. What's it called? Oh, what's the
Well,
Thailand
yeah,
Red
they
Bull
sell
called?
the original, the original version of Red Bull, where it's like in a
Yeah,
glass bottle and the logo's ever so
Kratten.
slightly different.
Yeah, Krating Daeng. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one.
I should
Have
have
you ever
tried
had
one
it?
when I was there.
I've had
No.
it. I had it a few weeks ago because I sold it in some random shop. It's basically Red Bull that's not fizzy and more like cough syrup, but it's really nice, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have seen it in the UK, but I've never bought it. But I mean, it's everywhere in Thailand. The
yeah,
both versions of it everywhere.
yeah.
You can't. Yeah.
Well, there is, if you want to learn that story, because I always recommend this video because it is really good. If you go onto YouTube and type in how Red Bull makes money, there's a video by Athletic Interests that actually explains how Thailand and Austria and the Red Bull branding kind of works in detail. So
Oh,
that's how you can learn. And yeah, it's quite interesting, genuinely. So
all right.
yeah.
Well, we should add a link to that so people can go
Yeah,
and see.
I can try. I'll put it in the description if I remember. But yeah, and then it was great to see Scott Ogden finish in 8th place. I think he could have done a lot better. There were a few kind of changes within his squad last few weekends, and we've seen him fight right at the front now, which is great to see. I loved his interview on TNT where he kind of just credited Michael Laverty for it. Said, it's great having Michael in the box. He's, been so good this year. Just great to have him around. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, still not announced. Should have been announced at the weekend, but it wasn't. Be interesting to see how Scott does next year, regardless of which team he ends up in. Quite excited to see that. But yeah, great to see Scott kind of battling where he should be. And a massive shout out, I will say, to Eddie O'Shea, because he was the only person on that grid to take that risk and run rain tyres. And you know what? It didn't work out. But massive respect to him for just giving it a go and having the nuts to just go, you know what? Everyone else is doing this. I'm going to try this. And if it rains, I'm going to look like the biggest legend ever. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. But, you know, credit for trying, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, he has nothing to lose in this championship, and these last 6 races that he's going to be involved in, slash has been involved in, is all just a learning curve for next year. So
Mm,
it was the prime opportunity to do something like that because, yeah, if it had have paid off, we literally would have been like, oh my God, he is the
yeah.
smartest guy ever. Look at this guy. Like, he's going to do big things next year if he can keep this sort of stuff up. But it's the same thing as Jorge Martin a
I was
couple
about to say
weeks ago
Martin and
in
Mazzano.
Misano. It could have been a really, really great thing. And it's like Moto 2 even a couple weeks ago where the likes of Ayagur and
Yeah.
Manuel Gonzalez, they went for it and it paid off. But yeah, it's good to know that he is confident in making those sorts of decisions because one day it will pay off and we'll be
Yeah,
going,
well.
what hero? Yeah.
Yeah, so big respect to Eddie. But yeah, should we get on to these predictions?
Yeah. Go on, man.
Right. Obviously, in Moto 3, who actually won the Moto 3 race? Think about it in Thailand.
Alonso?
Yes, it was. Of course it was. How
Are
stupid of
you?
me. Oh my word, what an idiot.
Right. This
Yeah,
usually we record a lot later at night, but it's only
yeah.
7:15, guys. So I don't know what's wrong with him today.
I said before the pod, I always operate better at like 8:30 and like 9 o'clock. But now I'm like too tired for
I
it. But
used to be like that at uni. All my work got
mm,
done at night,
yeah.
but
But yeah,
not anymore.
Lunetta was second. I think he deserves a shout
Mm.
out. Second podium of the year. He was very good in the Junior World Championship last year. It was quite sad to see him up onto a Honda. But you know what? I think it's actually worked out really well. He's battling Angel Piqueras for that Rookie of the Year championship. Piqueras could have wrapped it up in Thailand before he decided to go bowling with his teammate, and both of them crashed out of the race. So that wasn't ideal, was it? Really, Fernandez and Piqueras, but yeah, the pair of them doing quite well. But yeah, Malaysian Sepang Moto3 pole, please, Lauren.
We're not going to go through last week's ones?
Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? I know none of us did fantastically, but we should still.
True. Yeah, true. So so you know what I mean? I'll operate better later at night. But Thailand, heading into Thailand after Australia, I led with 906 points. Lauren was 770 after her sensational 125
Blinder.
points. Sweet. Yeah.
Thanks to everyone who congratulated me on such a feat. I got quite a few messages about
Yeah, I
that.
saw that. Yeah. And then Cameron was 664 in third. Now, Thailand, I think I went into it leading you by, what's 906 minus 7? 136 points. So you close up quite a lot.
That's
You know,
fair, actually.
that's
Yeah.
solid. Right. Moto 3, you, Lauren, and Cameron got via third. And I got, along with you two, Alonso in first. Meaning I picked up 25 points and you both picked up 41. Meaning that I still lead with 931, you with 811, and Cameron with 705. So you've made more of an indent into my lead. In Moto 2, none of us got anything right.
Oh.
Just nothing at all. But then in MotoGP, myself and Cameron got Martin in second, and that is it. Meaning I leave Thailand with 951. You have 811 and Cameron has 725. So I have actually extended
so you
my
pulled the
lead.
lead, yeah, because I only got a third
4
place.
points.
Yeah. You got a first and a second, and I only got a first and a third.
Yeah. So Sepang, theoretically, I can win the championship, but it's unlikely. But the fact that you managed to get 125 points the other week, meaning there is a very small chance you could actually
That
pull it
happens
back
again.
off me. Yeah. So I'm not going to be celebrating anything just yet. But yes, Moto3 pole, please, Lauren.
Who was actually pole at the weekend?
It was Kelso. His first ever Moto3 pole. I was buzzing for him. I messaged him like, finally got that watch, because he's been going on for ages about getting a watch.
Yeah.
And he's finally got it. And I think he posted a photo of him FaceTiming someone with the watch on. Was buzzing.
Oh, I actually don't know for pole. Let's go with Ortola.
Okay. I'm going to actually stick with Ortola as well. So thanks for that.
Oh, nice.
These are the most Moto3 poles this year, I believe. Cameron's gone Alonso. Malaysian Moto3.
No, the podium last year was Vire, Shizaki, Masia. Just FYI.
I'm going to go via third. Cameron's gone for a Sato, and you're going to go...
I'm going to go Holgado.
Nice. Right. In second, Cameron went Fernandez. You're going to go...
Vire.
Nice. And I'm going to go Holgado. And I don't really think it takes genius to work out who we've picked to win.
Yeah, I think all of us have stuck with David Alonso.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Right, Moto2 pole, I've gone Canet, and so has Cameron.
Oh, I've gone the same.
Nice.
Well, pole last year was Fermin Aldegar, but I actually would have gone with Fermin had he not have got injured.
Solid, yeah.
Because I do think he's usually good, and he's shown that he's good in these rounds before. And Cameron made a very good point in his message that with the championship tied up and nothing to lose, I think Fermin probably could have been great, but
he's not
what
racing.
Can you do? Yeah, so that was a complete pointless tangent. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for that. Right, who are you going for third?
See, I wanted to put Arbolino, but I know that Cameron has,
Yeah,
so
he was very good there last year. So
he was, yeah. So the podium last year was Aldeguer Costa Ramirez. So I'm gonna go with let's go with Manu Gonzalez.
okay. He actually fought for a win there, or at least a podium there in his rookie year. So actually not a bad shout for Manu at Sepang. Cam's gone Arbolino. I've stuck with Marcos Ramirez because, why not? I've gone Canet second because it's more likely than not he'll finish second, even if he has won 3 races this year. Cameron's gone Agura, and you've gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Canet.
Nice.
It's gone pretty well most times.
Yeah,
I've predicted it.
It has. Well, Cameron, I've managed to catch him, and he has changed Arbolino because he's not racing, so it wouldn't be fair
No,
to allow him to put it
Fermin.
in. He has
He's
changed. Sorry, Fermin. Yes, in first to Canet to win. Who are you going for, Lauren?
I'm going to put, which is, I think it's Arbolino.
Okay. Nice.
I've little faith in that decision, but it would be nice to see.
Well, I'm going to put Agura because, champion and all that.
Yeah. Fair.
Right, MotoGP pole, please, Lauren. I think Bagnaia holds a lap record there.
Bagnaia was in pole last year.
It was Martin.
Alex Marquez had the fastest lap in the race.
It was Anea 1. Alex Marquez was second.
I don't remember this. And Pecco was in third.
Bagnaia pole, yeah. Bagnaia pole session. When it loads. Is, lap record, Bagnaia. He's set an absolutely disgusting time last year.
Jeez, the results last year: Martin 4th, Quartararo 5th.
Yeah, Fabio goes well at Sepang.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, who are you going for pole, please? I'm going Bagnaia as well as Cameron because lap record holder.
Yep, let's go with it.
Okay. Sprint win, please.
Martin. I'll stick with him.
Cameron's gone Martin as well. And I was sat here going, probably Martin. But I have a hunch that it'll be Pecco.
Bagnaia?
Yeah. I have a hunch.
It's making me nervous.
He's going to fight for his life.
I hope he does. I really do hope he does. I've nothing on this weekend, so there's a possibility I actually might stay up and watch the races this weekend.
Good shout.
Rather than watching them in the morning.
Well, hours later, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awful. In Moto 2, because I got up. It's really annoying, actually, with these races. So I got up for Moto 3, watched Moto 3, was absolutely fine. Moto 2 comes on, and suddenly I can't keep my eyes open at all. And so I ended up putting a cushion next to me and just lying on that instead, because I was fighting sleep that hard. And drifted in and out of sleep throughout Moto 2, but set alarms to keep me awake. And then I woke up at the exact second the race was red flagged, and I was like, oh, great, up, post, now, quick. And then I could stay awake from MotoGP and then tried to go to bed afterwards. And no, that was it. I was awake then. I just couldn't go back to sleep. I'm like, why can I sleep through the thing I want to watch, but not sleep when I'm trying to sleep? Really annoying.
Yeah. Very annoying. Oh, I don't know. Malaysia time zones are pretty rough.
They are awful. This, I think, is the worst one. Thailand's the best by a mile.
Australia was good.
Australia was good, actually.
Because it starts at 10 p.m. So I was going to bed. So you can get
some sessions out of the way.
Yeah.
And then, because I'm posting at the end of every session, I can get 2 sessions out of the 6 down before on a Friday, before I've even gone to bed. And then with Thailand, I think 3 of them were whilst I was meant to be sleeping, so I could get up, post, and then sleep again, and then do the rest whilst I was functional. Whereas I think in Malaysia,
realised I'm also I am away this weekend, so actually the hopes of me getting up at 4 a.m. to watch the Moto3 race might actually be
right. This Friday I'm getting no sleep. Full stop. That is absolutely horrific.
No sleep. Bus, club, Another club.
Nice. Right, third place, please.
Ooh. Oh man. Let's go Enea Bastianini.
Okay.
Actually, no, never mind. Keep it as it is.
Okay.
I've said it now. I can't change my mind.
You have Cameron's gone Bagnaia. I've gone Marquez. Second, I've gone Bagnaia.
Oh, me too.
Cameron's gone Martin. You've gone Bagnaia. Who have you gone to win, Martin?
Yeah.
Cameron's gone Bastianini.
Smart. Yeah, smart.
And so have I. I've not even put Martin on the podium.
No. Do you think?
I've not
Well,
put
clearly, but
whole sprint race, nothing. I reckon he's going to make a mistake this weekend. I don't want him to. I don't want him to, but I reckon it's coming. Pressure.
No, I don't want the same thing that happened to him last year to happen again, where he
That would be
completely
awful. Yeah, that would be
lost his
awful.
mind in the last couple of races. Like that Valencia race last year, I actually don't ever want to witness something like that again. It was so horrible
Especially
to
with
watch.
Mark as
Just
well. That was so sad because of his last Honda race.
the complete, just I don't know. He lost his mind, and it was horrible to watch.
He's stronger now.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he'll
He
crash,
is.
but I do think that he will be too tentative to try and maybe because he can win the championship this weekend. That in itself is insane pressure.
I think that both of them are thinking the Valencia is the title decider,
Yeah,
though.
they both want it to be as well. I think as a fan, it sucks when it hits Valencia and there's no titles left to be wrapped up.
Yeah, everything has been wrapped up very early this year. Like Moto3, you could see it coming,
early.
but Agura to just all of a sudden have that championship wrapped up, 2 races to go even, and he could have won it the week before with 3 races to go. Yeah, a bit mad. Surely that's the first time in a while that those 2 championships have been finished up so early. Like I can't remember a time where all 3 championships were decided before Valencia, which could happen. So
yeah, honestly, it could.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see. But those are the predictions. Final point, I guess, is the fact that we've had 2 retirements this week, with Glenn Irwin retiring from road racing, which is a shame because he's on, I think it's a 12 streak at the Northwest 200 at the moment.
I think it's 11.
One of the 2. And then Danny Buchan has also decided to hang up his levers and retire from British Superbikes.
Now that is sad. Full stop. Seeing a rider fully decide on his own terms, like I can't imagine what he's going through at the minute to just turn around and go, do you know what? It's time to call it a day. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is 12 for... Or no, most successful Superbike rider ever at the Northwest 200 with 11 wins for Glenn Irwin. I think it's 11 in a row.
So he won Northwest 200, 24, 23, 22, 2018, 2017. Those are all consistently because 2019 was cancelled. And then Glenn Irwin also won Superbike 3 in a row, and then 19 and 18 as well. And then that's it. I don't really understand. I know there's a lot of classes.
Yeah.
But I'm just a bit confused at this point. So
I think the same way with Danny Buchan deciding on your own accord to finish up. I'm so glad that it's not an actual retirement from Glenn like Declan initially thought it was in the group chat.
Yeah.
I'd heard some rumors. I'd heard some rumors a couple of weeks ago that he was thinking about not doing the roads this year. I'd been told by someone that was false, but that obviously could have just been trying to keep us all off the scent sort of thing, and wait until he's made his own announcement. The video was really heartwarming actually and really lovely to watch, and I think it really just shows Glenn as a person. There's been so much drama over the last couple of years in the British Superbike Championship between him and Tommy Bridewell that it was just that video was a class act, to be honest. And
Yeah,
I wish Glenn all the best luck for the
me too.
2024 season. And yeah, takes a big man to turn around and say, no, I've got my family at home and I've achieved everything that I want to achieve. And yeah, I could keep going out and winning, but at what cost? So
Yeah, it's not worth it. At the end of the day, you got 3 kids at home, 2 kids at home.
yeah.
So yeah, and if he takes home that BSB title, he'll be more than happy.
I think that'll be him. If he wins that
Yeah,
championship next year, I think he'll just go, that's me done
yeah,
now.
I
He's
think so.
34, by no means over the hill or anything like that, but just based on that announcement with the roads, I think if
Yeah,
he can finally get that BSB title, he can go home happy.
happy. Yeah,
And yeah, look at his trophy cabinet and go, look at all these things that I've done. I've achieved everything that I want to achieve. And not many
mm,
racers can say that. So fingers crossed for Glenn next year. Hopefully he stays with the PBM teams.
I think he
Don't know if
will.
that's
I think
announced or not, but yeah.
PBM put a post out to say they fully support his decision, so
Yeah.
I
Well,
think he'll
maybe
probably
PBM
stay.
might get someone else in to do the road season
He probably
next year if they're
will. Alistair
interested in
Seeley,
it. So
maybe.
could do.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting. I hope they run 2 bikes next year too. It'd be really nice to see a teammate again for Glenn.
Mm.
Had that support of an extra bike as well. I think they maybe
Get his
lacked
brother in there.
that support. They could do.
Yeah.
I think he's staying at Honda as far as I'm aware, but you never know.
Mm. Just never know.
The rumor mill is big in BSB at the minute,
It's
so
crazy.
we'll
Yeah. Well,
see.
Storm Stacey's moved, hasn't he?
Yeah, but we don't know where yet.
No. And then obviously, what's his name? David Todd got leaked to go to FHO for the Macau, likely for the BSB season as well, because Brooks is
Yeah,
out. Tass didn't give Davey a seat in BSB last year, so he won the
Superbike.
Super
Yeah,
Stock Championship again. At the end of the day, they've got a TT team. You know, Davey's the winner of the senior TT as well. You know, he does Macau. Davey is the perfect rider for FHO. He wants BSB as well. He's
yeah. He
young.
wants the
He's
roads.
hungry.
Yeah,
He wants
yeah,
roads, like we say. He's successful in the roads. So I think Davey will probably end up in FHO as well, next to
yeah,
Hickman.
yeah. Makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah,
Interesting
perfect
though, because then
sense.
that frees up a seat with Taz possibly, whether it be in Superstock or a teammate to
Superbike.
Roy Skinner in Superbike. So that could
Yeah,
be a possibility.
yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, lots of movement in BSB at the moment. Obviously, Bradley Ray's going back with Kyle Wright and Joe Talbot as teammates. Scott
Yeah,
Swan as well in there as well.
yeah. We'll
I
see
don't
where
know if
he
I can say
goes.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did see an interview where he says he is going up to British Superbikes.
Ah,
I
that's
think
fine
I
then.
did also say it on the podcast a couple of weeks
Oh,
ago.
okay, that's fine.
Sworn to secrecy though, unfortunately, guys.
Yeah,
So if it's what I think it is, it'll be a good move. But my
nice.
lips are sealed otherwise.
Respect. Right. Well, I think that's all we've got time for. I hope you've
I'd
enjoyed.
say so.
And we're back next time with potentially a new MotoGP World Champion.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, no. We want to go to Valencia.
I want a new champion though. Sorry,
Fair enough.
everyone. I've said it so many times this podcast episode. I've decided now. I
You
want
want
it to be
Martin.
Martin.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
because
Right.
I want them to run the one on the Aprilia.
On the Aprilia. Yeah, that would be sick. That would be
Yep.
sick. Nice. Well,
Okay.
thank you everybody for listening. We're back next time. Goodbye.
Bye.